Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, May 26th, and regional softball is here, and it kicks off in full earnest this afternoon. We had some games last week, as I mentioned last night. Think of those like the play-in games tonight. We really start the regional semifinals today and Thursday. So lots of stuff happening. Today we're going to cover Division 3 and Division 4. Due to a time constraint, I can't get to D5 today, but what we'll do is Thursday we'll lead off our show with a D5 kind of a preview as we go into regional finals. So apologies for that, but trying to get through as much as we can here. So let's get into Division 3, starting with it's a loaded sectional, you guys. I mean, as kind of they all are. Really good pitching, good lineups. You got defending champions in here. There's some dangerous sleepers and several teams with realistic state title paths make this maybe one of the most intriguing sectionals, or one of the most intriguing divisions of the five. Let's get right into it and start with Sectional 1. This is Division 3, Sectional 1. The Spooner Rails from the Heart O the North Conference, my favorite conference of all. Hey, by the way, our show today brought to you by the Circle Tap in Denmark and Wander Springs Golf Course in Greenleaf, as it has been all season long. We thank those guys for their support of W7 and for our show this year. But the heart, it's not Heart of the North, it's Heart O with the apostrophe North. Greatest conference in the state. Just from a naming standpoint alone, that is pure genius. For Spooner, Key wins this year 6-5 over St. Croix Falls, 11-2 over Northwestern. They had a 10-0 shutout over Hayward this year, 11-1 over Unity. They've had multiple wins over Cumberland, Ashland. Some stats to keep in mind. Multiple double-digit victories. They're a very quick team, one of the highest scoring offenses in D3. They're strong top to bottom. Offensive production, players to watch on this team. Anna Lee Lindgren hitting 750, 810 on base percentage, 7 homers, 45 hits, 26 stolen bases. Layla Thompson with a 607 on base percentage, 46 stolen bases, 37 runs scored. If you can't tell, this team likes to run. The pitcher for this Spooner team, Devin Danielson, 1.38 ERA. Again, what we've talked about all year long, successful softball teams put pressure on the other team's defense, and Spooner does that as well as anybody. Certainly a legitimate state title contender. St. Croix Falls, the Saints, also from the Heart O the North. Key wins over Unity, Northwestern, Cumberland, and Hayward. They did beat Spooner this year 6-5 in 9 innings. They're scoring about 7 runs a game. They've only allowed 87 runs in 25 games. That's a little over 3 a game. A 924 fielding percentage, so they're very clean in the field. Players to watch for the St. Croix Falls team. Faith Allrem hitting 430 with a 686 slugging percentage. Morgan Mellon with a 500 on base percentage. They prove they can beat Spooner, so that puts them in the conversation right there. It's a strong defensive team, as we mentioned. Battle tested in the Heart O the North. A consistent offensive production as well. The team to watch out for in this sectional, maybe Cameron, also in the Heart O the North. I swear I'm not just picking teams from the Heart O the North because I like saying Heart O the North, although I do. They beat St. Croix Falls twice. They also beat Barron, Unity, Hayward, and Ashland. They're averaging about 8.5 a game. This is Cameron we're talking about. A very good offensive lineup, great on base percentage. Taya Jossert hitting 667 on the year. Raina Schrader with a 500 batting average, and she scored 25 runs. Emerson Crayenbull, the pitcher, 2.92 ERA, 8 strikeouts, shutout against St. Croix Falls. So these aren't padded stats against the the lowest placed team in the conference. They're beating good teams, and including St. Croix Falls. So a dangerous Cameron team, one to watch out for in Division 3, Sectional 1. Sectional 2, Southern Door. The Eagles are the Packerland Conference champs. They beat Seymour 3-2. So how much did we talk about Seymour yesterday? A lot. This Southern Door team beat them. They beat Valders 5-4. They beat Wrightstown 7-0. They beat Chilton 6-5 in extra innings. So this Southern Door team has beat some good teams. They beat Kewanee, Winneconne. They've scored 212 runs this year. They've only allowed 55. So they're scoring almost 10 runs a game, hitting 444 as a team. Players to watch on the Southern Door team: Alana Kay hitting 469. The Circle, a 2.29 ERA, 115 strikeouts. Madison Cunard, she leads the team with 5 home runs. Grace Gutshow, fielding percentage of .995, also the stolen base leader on this team. Their run differential plus their wins make them a dangerous out in D3 Section 2. Keep an eye on them. Maybe the team to really watch, maybe laying in the weeds a little bit, Stratford. They are from the Merriwood Conference. They beat Auburndale earlier this year 6-4. They beat Cameron 18-2. Shutout wins over Newman Catholic, Nakusa, and Assumption. Again, good quality wins. They've got an excellent pitcher. We'll talk about her in a second. They beat Blair Taylor. They beat Edgar. They've won 9 of their games by 8+ runs, multiple shutouts. They score almost 8 runs a game. On base percentage for Stratford, 470. Players to watch, no question. The main player to watch on the Stratford team is Tria Tubbs. Tria hitting 515 on the season. She has 99 strikeouts and a 2.93 ERA. She's from that Plover fast pitch tree that we've talked about all week long. We'll continue talking about. They just crank out great players, and Tria no exception. Carly Pancratz has stolen 21 bases. Reese Spindler leads the team with 3 home runs. Tubbs is the key piece of this team. She was what makes them dangerous. If she can get on a roll pitching wise and get some clean defense behind her, they could be a dangerous sleeper in Sectional 2. The other team to look out for, Wittenberg Burnhamwood. They are from the Central Wisconsin East, the Chargers. Some big wins this year. They beat O'Connell Falls 11-0. They beat Bondwell 10-0. Bondwell's a number 1 seed, by the way. 8-0 win over Amherst, 5-2 over Clintonville, 5-1 over Shiocton. They've allowed fewer than 70 runs this season. Multiple shutouts, strong pitching, and defensive domination for this team. And it all starts with Rory Salverson. We all know Rory, the Minnesota commit, just one of the elite athletes and certainly one of the most elite athletes in our state. She had a phenomenal basketball career. Of course, softball's her number 1 sport. She is the top weapon on this Chargers team. Key middle of the order run producer. They set the table. Rory cleans it up. Kendra Cohn, also an RBI producer on this team, a situational hitter. Also another player to watch, Morgan Krause. She's the team ace, a reliable strikeout pitcher. She gives the Chargers a chance in every postseason game. I think they're going to be a tough out as well. Watch out. Their pitching is very strong. Their defense, they travel well in tournament softball. The defense always does. Defense always travels well. And they're comfortable playing low-scoring games. They've had several of those this year. And as we've talked about, we talked about it last night, talk about it again today. In postseason, you're not going to get a lot of these 15-0 wins. You're not going to come breezing in and it's just all fun and games. Things tighten up physically and emotionally and playing-wise in these postseason games. All right, Sectional 3. This team, I'm still not quite sure what to make of them yet. They've been up and down this year, but you don't ever count out the defending state champs. That's the Poinet Pumas. They're from the Capital North. some wins this year. They beat Waterloo 5-4. They beat Stratford 13-3. Beat a very good Lodi team 2-1. They beat St. Mary Springs. They beat Clinton, Columbus. 5-0 win over Lake Mills, 8-3 over Marshall. And why that's important, that tells you right away they're a good hitting team. If you can put 8 runs on Kennedy Weisensell, you're a pretty good hitting team and a pretty good scoring team. 123 runs scored. They only allowed 50. Their team batting average is 379, on base percentage 406, multiple shutout wins. They're ranked number 2 in Wisconsin D3 by Max Preps. Again, the defending D3 state champs. Players to watch: Addison Mackey, just a stud last year in the state tournament. One of the big hitters in the state. Addie hitting 425 with a 466 on base percentage. She scored 22 runs. Rachel Semrad, 2 home runs to lead the team. Player to watch certainly on this team, Pip Lepasic. Pip has a 1.57 ERA, 211 strikeouts. And that's impressive on its own. The ERA is impressive on its own. 16 wins is impressive on its own. You put those together, that's very impressive. And you go one step further and remind everybody she's a freshman. Now, that again carries its own, it's a double-edged sword with the freshman coming in. Number one, she doesn't know what she doesn't know, which is not a bad thing. But number two, how much whispering is going on around her, like, hey, these are big games. We're really counting on you. You're the ace. That's a lot of pressure for a 14, 15-year-old kid. And I haven't seen her, so I can't attest to this, but I'm curious how she's going to respond in this postseason. But I do know with Addison Mackey and with the team that this Poynette team has, they're always going to be in it. And I think Pip will have a great postseason as well. No question the pedigree's there for Poynette, not just last year, but traditionally Poynette has been a premier softball program in our state. Bob Tomlinson, of course, built that program from the ground up. Defending champs know how to win in June. So, don't sleep on Poynette. Also, Adams Friendship, the Green Devils, they are number 1 in their sectional. They're from the South Central Conference. They beat the Dells a couple times. They beat Mauston, beat Berlin, beat Nakusa, beat Westfield, beat Bloomer, a good Bloomer team. They beat Anago. The thing that worries me, maybe not worries, but the thing that comes to mind for this Adams Friendship team is, competition quality. They don't have, in their direct area, they don't have a really big competition. We saw them against Almond Bancroft, the D5 team. Almond Bancroft won that game pretty handily. But with that said, the Green Devils, 239 runs scored. They've only allowed 62. They've won 14 games by 6 or more runs. Run differential, they look really, really good. Players to watch on this team, we've talked about her all year long. Kenna Kersenlore hitting 549. She's the UW River Falls commit. 609 on base percentage, 39 hits. Just wrapped up her high school career with 150 career hits, 38 runs scored, 3 homers, 11 stolen bases. She is most certainly the key offensively and defensively, the shortstop. They're going to count on her in this to make this postseason run. Riley Weaver, the pitcher. Weaver just eclipsed 600 career strikeouts, a 470 batting average to go with it. 43 RBI for Weaver, 4 home runs. The ace in the circle. And another player to watch, Piper Moyer. Now, Piper is a very good volleyball player, a very good basketball player, and a very good softball player. So she's one of those really, really good all-around athletes. Kersenlore is as well. Piper, 22 stolen bases, a 589 slugging percentage. And the pitcher to watch again, Riley Weaver, 1.54 ERA. If she gets rolling and Kenna's playing clean defense, this team is going to be really tough to beat. Piper Moyer plays third. The left side of that infield is in really, really good shape. Kersenlore is certainly one of the best hitters in the sectional. Strong speed, defense, and pitching. They're capable of making a run. Does that mean they will? No. Are they capable? Yes. I'm curious to see how they look these first two games tonight and Thursday. The wild card in this sectional may be Richland Center. They're from the Southwest Wisconsin Conference. 13-1 win over Prairie du Chien. They beat Dodgeville. They beat River Valley. They beat Platteville 12-1. They're a strong defensive team, multiple shutout wins, consistent pitching, steady run prevention team in sectional 3. Haley Brewer, a 2.31 ERA, 122 strikeouts. She's the ace on that team entering postseason play. Kaylee Olson's hitting 401 with 28 RBI. She's a key middle of the order producer. They have enough pitching to compete with anyone in the sectional. I think Brewer gives them a legitimate postseason arm. They've played a strong conference schedule. They're pretty sound defensively. They could be a problem. So, certainly keep an eye on this team as well, as Richland Center might be able to, cause some chaos in that sectional. Sectional 4, I think it starts with Lemira. They're the conference champions in the flyway. Big wins over Horicon, over Freedom, over Winneconne, over Waterloo, over Mineral Point. 7-2 win over Mineral Point. 13-3 and 11-1 wins over St. Mary Springs. They beat Laconia 5-2, beat WLA. They also beat Adams Friendship 2-0. So this team, the thing I like about this Lemira team, very battle tested. It's a good group. It's a nice blend in this team of youth and experience. You've got seniors. You got Trista Gassner, who's I think the leader on this team. Trista really sets the stage. She's a great slap hitter, great leadoff hitter, one of the fastest kids I've ever seen on the softball field. They also, they've scored 209 runs. They can really stack runs up, and they've only allowed 37. Haley Caspery, a tremendous pitcher for Lemira, multiple shutout wins. They're ranked number 1 in D3 in the final poll. Caspery, a 0.84 ERA, 241 strikeouts for Haley Caspery. That puts her in the top 3 in the state. One of the premier pitchers in Wisconsin softball. Lillian Christian, the sophomore, hitting 497 with 11 home runs and 49 RBI. Lily's had just a tremendous season. She can also pitch. She's a very good pitcher. Is a nice change of pace from Caspery if they need it. Also, we talked about Trista Gassner. It's really important Trista get on base and set the table for Christian, for Brianna Free. It seems like when this team needs a big hit, Brianna Free usually is coming up to bat. Eleanor Colley is also a very good part of this team. So it's a very deep team, Lemira. I think, again, they've played a very good schedule. Caspery can dominate games. Sometimes she doesn't need more than a run or two, but this Lions team has plenty of offense behind it as well. To me, they're the team to beat, not just in this sectional. To me, they're really a team to beat in all of D3, and we'll see how that shakes out. Laconia, you can never really count Laconia out. Maybe not their best season, but always in the conversation. They beat Winnebago Lutheran. They beat Campbellsport. They beat Omro. They beat North Fondue. They beat Trivers. They beat Campbellsport 2-1, and they're going to be in the conversation. Lily Schultz needs help defensively. Going to count on the Maurer kid to play really strong in the outfield. They've scored 170 runs. Look, no doubt this team misses Emma Bone and the Westfall kid. No doubt about that. Oh, by the way, for Lemira, Izzy Westfall, tremendous catcher. Very, very good catcher to kind of keep that Westfall name behind the plate. Kaylee Westfall, of course, will pawn a tremendous career there now at DePaul. But Izzy Westfall, very, very solid. But getting back to Laconia, we talked about it last night, right? You don't got to beat them. You don't got to win 10 games in a row against some of these teams. You got to win. You got to beat them once. And, Laconia, pound for pound, I think that they can match up well anywhere in D3. Maddie Griepentrog, a 1.96 ERA, 171 strikeouts, one of the top pitchers in D3. Addison Schwartz hitting 446. So, they've got some very good players. Keep an eye on Laconia. Okay, another wild card team to watch, Clinton. They're in the Rock Valley, wins over Bigfoot, and they're scoring nearly 8 runs a game. Their slugging numbers are very good. Avery Miller has a 2.04 ERA with 157 strikeouts. Sophie Warren's hitting 462, 8 home runs, 44 RBI. You guys, I'm sorry, I'm just dumping stats on you, but I really, I like talking about as many kids as we can, because a lot of these kids have had tremendous seasons, and I think it's important that we mention as many of them as we can. And I also know college coaches watch this show, so I want to make sure that we're highlighting the kids. And if it gets a little stat heavy at times, I'm sorry. If it gets a little, overwhelming with all these names, I'm sorry for that too. But I think it's important that we highlight as many of these kids as we can. So that's a look at D3. When we come back, we'll take a look at Division 4. Again, it's kind of a quick episode here. We're trying to get through as much as we can. You're watching Whip Around and Find Out special playoff edition presented by the Circle Tap in Denmark and Wonder Springs Golf Course in Greenleaf. We're coming right back.
Thousands of athletes are competing for the same spots. The ones who get noticed, they give coaches something to watch. Recruited Films produces cinematic athlete recruitment videos shot professionally, built around your athlete's strengths, and designed to do one thing: get them noticed. Your athlete's story is ready to be told.
Welcome back. Whip Around and Find Out playoff edition. Time to get into Division 4. Our show brought to you, as always, by the Circle Tap in Denmark and Wonder Springs Golf Course in Greenleaf. All right, D4, it's loaded with dominant pitchers, great offenses, and teams that know how to win postseason softball. Several of these sectionals, I got to tell you, they feel kind of wide open, and one elite arm, as you guys know this, if you've got really strong pitching, that can carry a long ways in the postseason. Let's start with, to me, these guys are the favorite, not just in sectional 1. I think you got to look at this team as a favorite to maybe win it all this year. That would be Grantsburg. Grantsburg undefeated this year. Big wins over Prescott, over Bloomer, over St. Croix Falls. They've had some big wins. They beat McDonald Central, the Max. It seems like the Max and Grantsburg and Fall Creek are always kind of in that conversation. Fall Creek maybe down a little bit this year, but a 21-game winning streak for the Pirates, multiple shutout wins. They're they don't allow a lot of runs, and I'll explain why in a minute. They are certainly ranked. They've been ranked in the top on Division 4 all season long. Players to watch: Presley Olson, a key top of the order catalyst for this team. Multi RBI games for Press. Dangerous speed. She's a threat offensively. And then, of course, you've got to talk about Piper Olson. Pipe hitting 485 on the year, which is, of course, impressive. But her ERA on the circle, 0.28. In case you didn't hear that, Piper Olson's ERA, 0.28. Multiple double-digit strikeout games, one of the top two-way stars, not just in Division 4, Sectional 1, not just in Divisional 4, but in the state of Wisconsin. She is an elite talent. She's going to Madison and going to tear it up for Coach Healy and the Badgers. Abby Rombach. Abby always seems to come through with big hits when they need it. 364 batting average. She's an important middle of the order RBI producer for this team. also a major offensive threat. Jaden Armato, Peanut. Peanut is a big infield contributor on this team, a good situational hitter. They've got a great catcher in the name of Ruby Rengo. Another great season for Rubes. They're a pretty well stacked and put together team. I think you got to really look at Grantsburg as, maybe the team to beat in Division 4, certainly in Sectional 1. Now, with that said, we've said this before with Grantsburg, so I'm going to put all the disclaimers on. I picked them to win state a couple years ago. This was when I stopped doing predictions because this upset so many people that I picked them, and Fall Creek beat them in the sectionals, and Fall Creek went on to win state. Believe me, I still don't know. I don't think I've heard the end of it yet. But with that said, I think that they're going to be a tough team to beat. Now, McDonald Central, yes, Grantsburg beat them already this year, but the Clover Belt champs have some big wins. They beat Somerset 5-1. They beat a very good Stanley Boyd team 8-2. They beat Thorpe twice. Thorpe was at state last year. Big win over Regis, Augusta, Bloomer. They average over 9 runs per game this year. The Max do multiple run rule victories. They've got strong offensive depth, dangerous offensive momentum. And here's the key. So Grantsburg's the 1, McDonald Central's the 2. Grantsburg beat them once already this year. It was a close game. It could be, revenge play for the Max if they can get to that point with Grantsburg. So keep an eye on them. Marissa Wegleitner, multiple games with 8+ strikeouts, a good pitcher for the Max. Aubrey Johnson, a good hitter for McDonald Central as well. So keep an eye on McDonald Central. They can score in bunches. They're very aggressive offensively, and again, very good pitching. Sectional 2. This team, we've talked about them a lot this year as well, and that is Marathon. They're in the Merrill-Wood Conference, wins over Edgar, Auburndale, and Stratford. They also beat, they handed Almond Bancroft their only loss of the year, and by the way, that game was 17-8 over a strong D5, the number 1 team in D5, Almond Bancroft. So certainly the chops are there for Marathon. Multiple strong conference victories. They've won some close games as well. So I keep an eye on that team. Kylie Lupke, strong on base presence. She's an offensive catalyst on this team near the top of the lineup. Addison Cohn, RBI producer, middle of the order, power threat. The pitcher, Macy Schlagenhaft, reliable strikeout pitcher. She is the ace entering this postseason. Marathon dangerous because they've got strong pitching with a good defense behind them. They're comfortable in low-scoring games. They're battle-tested, and they're fundamentally strong. Bonduel, a number 1 seed coming out of the Central Wisconsin East. Key wins over Oconto Falls, Shiocton, and Weyowega Fremont. Strong conference victories entering the postseason. Multiple dominant defensive performances. They've got multiple shutout wins. They're very good at defensively at giving up runs. Consistent pitching throughout the season. They've been near the top in Division 4 all year long. Emma Hoffman, the key offensive producer on that team. She's a very consistent hitter. Brianna Schmidt, a speed threat offensively, top of the order, sets the table. Also watch Kendra Seidel, a reliable postseason arm. So, they're going to be dangerous. Watch out for Bonduel. All right, Sectional 3. Fenimore, number 1 in this sectional. They're out of the Swall Conference. Beat Platteville, beat Lancaster, beat Prairie du Chien. They've had some strong victories throughout the season. Multiple postseason style wins, close, low scoring wins. They're strong overall. They got a strong pitching staff, multiple shutout victories, very good efficiency on defense. Maybe one of the steadier programs in D4. Watch Maddie Helmer, a strong RBI producer. one of the lineup's top offensive bats, an important middle of the order hitter. Taylor Kelly, excellent on base presence, key contact hitter, table setter on this team. And then Kendra Stitzer is the pitcher, reliable strikeout pitcher. She is the ace this year for them. They're a good team. Watch out for them in Division 4, Sectional 3. That is Fenimore. The other team in Sectional 3, I think you got to keep an eye on this year. They've been there before. They know how to win big games. They made it all the way to the state championship or state semifinals last year. That's the Pointers of Mineral Point. They're also out of the SWAL Conference. Wins over Dodgeville, River Valley, and Prairie du Chien. Multiple convincing wins for this team. Excellent pitching. Tenley Bachop, of course, an excellent pitcher. And just a really good, deep, young group that's still getting better, day after day. Of course, Austin Kinch having another tremendous season. The Tuttle kid, Ava Tuttle, also a very good player. They've got a very strong core group of still pretty young players on this Pointers team. We'll see if this team is ready to take the next step this year. They lost to eventual state champs Mishicot last year in a very, very good competitive game. To me, they kind of remind me a little bit of that Almond Bancroft team in D5 in that they're deep. They made it to the summit. Now it's just the case of planting the flag. Can they do that this year? Can they take the next step and win a state championship? Not going to be easy. That sectional is that division is really, really tough. So we'll see. But I like Kinch, I like Tuttle, I like Bachop. All three very, very good players. Okay, let's see. Sectional 4, Algoma. This team, it kind of lives and dies on Macy Zimmerman, the pitcher. Macy has a lot on her shoulders for sure, but they're a very good team. Wins over Gibraltar, Washington Island, Kewanee, Sevastopol. They're very good defensively, but again, Macy Zimmerman is kind of the engine of this team. A 13 strikeout game against Crivets, who we're going to see today, and we haven't talked about Crivets, but they take on Manawa today. That's on W7 today at 4:30. We'll be on air at 4:05 from Crivets. I think I have to leave in like 5 minutes to be able to make it there on time today. They had a 14 strikeout, 1-hit game against Sturgeon Bay. Zimmerman approaching 700 career strikeouts. She is the real deal. The question is, she's pitched a lot this year. I'm curious to see what her stamina is for this postseason. That's going to be interesting. Also, Addison Van Lannen, a strong extra base hit threat, one of Algoma's top RBI producers in the middle of the order. So keep an eye out on Algoma. I'm not, I haven't seen them, so it's kind of hard for me to say, but certainly they're going to be tough. Johnson Creek, I have seen them. I saw them last year. I haven't seen them this year, but for the most part, that team looks pretty similar to last year. They did beat Marshall 3-2. They beat Waterloo 13-9. They beat Pewaukee 7-2. They beat Edgewood 14-8. They've had a lot of close games as well. They've scored 251 runs, Johnson Creek, and they've only allowed 59 runs. Team batting average of .412 this year, on base percentage of .474, slugging .579. They've stolen 77 bases as a team. They will run a lot. Team ERA under 2, averaged over 10 runs a game. Players to watch, certainly Adigan Benz, .493 batting average, .630 slugging percentage, 33 RBI, and a major middle of the order offensive threat. I'd also watch Libby Burbach. Libby, a good power hitter, a good cleanup hitter, RBI producer for this Johnson Creek team. Johnson Creek, another one of those teams, I think, are they ready to make the next step? I kind of thought maybe we'd see them at state last year, didn't make it. Can they make it this year? Also, of course, you got the all-stud pitcher and player, Tori Bugles, 1.59 ERA, 117 strikeouts. She is one of the key reasons, and maybe the key reason, this Johnson Creek is as dangerous as it is. You know, you talk, I mean, are they a dark horse? I don't think so. I think, you know, they've got to be considered, a favorite to make it deep in the postseason. But it's going to depend on Tori, and it's going to depend on the one of the issues with Johnson Creek this year has been when they really need runs in some games, they've gone quiet. The bats have kind of, let them down a little bit. So they're going to need to, you got to give Tori some help. So they're going to need to be able to score some runs as we get into this postseason. All right, there is your D4. As I mentioned, we'll hit D5 on Thursday. We'll open our show with D5 as we get ready for the regional finals. I wanted to get you guys out of here by 8, so a little bit past it, but not too late. Tonight on W7, again, great game ahead. Manawa and Crivets. Start time 4:05 on air, 4:30 first pitch. Really looking forward to seeing Taryn Tracy and the Wolverines against a really good Manawa team. It's a 3-6 game, but I mean, to me, it's almost a pick'em game. We'll see what happens in that one tonight. Lastly, hey, good luck to all of the teams as we start our season. I'm sad to say half of the teams will end their season today. Seniors, take an extra minute with that jersey on. Don't be in a rush to take it off. Keep that jersey on. Make them rip it off your back. Keep it on. Enjoy every second, and know that this has been a very special time for you. If you win, keep playing. We got more work to do, lots of work to do. We'll be back tomorrow. We're not going to do necessarily a rundown of scores. You guys can see the scores, but we're going to highlight some key performances tomorrow on our show. Similar to how we've done the show all year. We'll do Home Run Club. We'll do Who's That Girl, all that stuff. Watch for it tomorrow. Enjoy the games today. We'll see you at 7:30 tomorrow morning. You've been watching Whip Around and Find Out, presented by the Circle Tap in Denmark and Wonder Springs Golf Course in Greenleaf. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.